Meghan Markle has been very brazen recently with the use of the HRH. Now, royal fans will know in 2020, during the negotiations for Harry and Meghan to leave royal duties, it was agreed with Queen Elizabeth that they will not use the HRH title. That is a long-standing precedent, and there's good reason for it. Basically, the HRH is only given to work.
Zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That is a title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US to bug all of us. She's using it in private with her friends. That's even weirder than if they were still trying to milk the titles in public. That is just like all the confirmation that I need that this woman is just obsessed with being a royal, that is all this was all about. That she's angry that she screwed the pooch by claiming racism and basically getting kicked out of the family. She just can't give up the HRH titles that quickly. Like, this is literally what she has always wanted.
We're at Soho House, Toronto, which is basically TIG headquarters for me. I write my stories here, I take my meetings here, and it's kind of amazing because all over the world, if I'm traveling, Soho House can still be home base.
You'll make yourself cry. Oh, I do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy. You're like, Meghan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
In the beginning, it looked like tradition reimagined. A duchess stepping into modern media, speaking softly, branding boldly, but always with one foot still in the palace. From luxury lounges to title-stamped notes, every move was curated to carry the weight of legacy, without the burden of duty. But when legacy becomes a logo, the line between heritage and self-promotion starts to blur.
Prince William has finally snapped. Enough is enough. He has told friends he will strip Meghan Markle of the HRH title.
Zoom in here and it says, with the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. That is a title that was stripped from her when she and Harry made their whole racism debacle and left the UK, left their royal duties, and moved to the US to bug all of us.
It seems like that lady is a temptress. She's a siren. She's lured him into the rocks.
According to a source, here's the quote: Prince William plans to flex his muscles and wipe his wayward brother, Prince Harry, and his power-hungry wife, Meghan, from the history books, it says.
Enough for Bill Simmons over at the Ringer podcast, which was acquired by Spotify, to call Harry and Meghan, quote, a fucking grifter on his latest podcast. Here's what he had to say.
I wish I had been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The fucking grifters.
Prince William is reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles.
The only thing HRH stands for in association with Meghan Markle is her ruthless homewreckerness, I guess.
This woman looks to me like a malignant narcissist. This woman has zero self-awareness.
Beast has reported that King Charles is turning a blind eye, but King William won't.
There are government employees that are still waiting for paychecks, back paychecks months ago.
Yeah.
You know, what are the odds that they're going to get paid quickly for this Harry and Meghan visit?
Wanting to exploit their royal titles, I think it stinks. And I think what King Charles should do, he should just strip them of the titles. Let them go off and be, celebrities. That's fine. But don't do it in the name of our royal family.
Oh my God, that hat. Oh God, he's so hot. Look at him. Isn't Prince Harry? She bagged a fox.
But this has been Meghan Markle's MO from the beginning. She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public service.
Nobody talks like that and nobody acts like that, because that's weird behavior that we're seeing from both of these people if we're supposed to be thinking under the impression that they're being authentic.
Markle and Prince Harry may no longer be working royals, but their recent trip to Nigeria looked very much like a royal tour of their own.
Prince William will strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles when he becomes king.
There are growing calls to strip Harry and Meghan of their royal titles. The New York Post is reporting that locals in the UK say enough is enough, especially after Prince Harry's disastrous BBC interview, which aired
for hours since the release of Harry and Meghan's bombshell Netflix documentary, and the papers have been reacting overnight. Oh boy, have they been reacting. The pair are dominating the front pages. One Conservative MP said that he is planning to bring forward legislation in an attempt to strip the Duke and Duchess of Sussex of their
is still using her HRH title despite agreeing to drop the title when the Sussex has left royal duties. How is Will planning to deal with this?
Wanting to exploit their royal titles, I think it stinks. And I think what King Charles should do, he should just strip them of the titles. Let them go off and be, celebrities. That's fine. But don't do it in the name of our royal family.
For one reason, to get their faces back on camera and to improve their image. They want people to think well of them, so they decide what they really need? Us. What they need is us.
That's when the quiet murmurs began. The title she agreed to stop using kept showing up on packaging and private circles, stamped like a claim not yet surrendered. But this wasn't just about protocol. It was about power. Because a title in the royal world doesn't just open doors, it preserves a name, a lineage, a seat in history. And the more it was repeated, the more it seemed like someone wasn't ready to let go. Not of tradition, but of the influence that came with it.
Meghan Markle was slammed relentlessly in the media for claiming she undertook a DNA test that proved she was 43% Nigerian and then referring to it multiple times throughout the trip.
But before I go to bed almost every night, I email them. Wow. They will end up at one point in their life, maybe when they're 16 or when they're 18, that I say, here's an email that I've been keeping for you.
Because that's really what you want when you're 18. 40,000 emails, Maureen, from your mother.
These emails are so that when my children are of age, they can come to me and say, oh my God, you loved us so much. It's me, me, me.
Do you think you'll be married forever?
Yes.
I have a letter.
He's also a fox. If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome. But his heart is even more beautiful.
Something's up here. See that little shoulder shrug when she said yes?
Yes, yes.
Did you hear how high her voice was when she said yes?
Yes.
When we're stressed, our larynx closes up a little bit and our voice tone gets a little bit higher. That's why the pitch of the S is so high.
But this has been Meghan Markle's MO from the beginning. She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity, but she doesn't want any of the responsibility. She doesn't want to do any of the work. She wants the tiara. She doesn't want the public service.
Over time, the image began to feel stretched. The emotional beats were still there. Stories of motherhood, romantic devotion, the weight of being misunderstood, but the delivery felt practiced, the emotions polished, each pause perfectly timed, each setting photo ready. What once felt personal now echoed like messaging. The legacy wasn't being passed down, it was being packaged. And when that happens, even the most heartfelt moments can start to feel like a script.
Never want someone else to feel that way. And I would never want someone else to be making those sort of plans. And I would never want someone else to not be.
Several surreptitious visits to Meghan's condo in Toronto.
Meghan Markle has finally revealed why she and Prince Harry call each other M and H. What could it be?
He would come and go, and really nobody figured out who he was.
I assumed it was for the obvious reason. M is the 13th letter of the alphabet, and H is the 8th letter of the alphabet.
Meghan was being, secretly brought over here, stayed with him in Kensington Palace, and again, none were the wiser.
8 plus 13 is 21. 21.
Meghan and Harry kept most of their early courting days behind closed doors.
So look at it through the lens of, what if it was my daughter? What if it was my son?
A statement from Her Majesty the Queen. But first, to allow me to forget I'm an American who does not give a damn. Exclusive sit down with the Duke and Duchess of Netflix, Harry and Meghan, who accused members of the royal family of being racist. And Deion Sanders' nickname was Neon Dion, obviously a reference to how they light up each other's lives.
And then it slipped. A moment meant to feel intimate, just initials between partners, became the punchline on a late-night stage. Stephen Colbert didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. The laughter from the audience said more than any headline. That was the fracture. When sentiment turns to satire, the brand doesn't just bend, it buckles. Because legacy, no matter how carefully managed, can't survive when the public stops believing in the story behind it.
For days, the royals were silent. But this afternoon, the palace issued this statement.
As within this interview, said it got so bad that she was suicidal.
I'm sorry, I don't believe a word she says, Meghan Markle.
Hello, suicide hotline, Piers speaking. Oh, really?
Meghan, you have a very privileged life.
Yeah.
We all get it. You're beautiful. You married a prince, but that's literally all you've done to when it comes to your accomplishments.
Right.
Right. And Thomas Markle said he was surprised to find out Meghan was 43% Nigerian because he's always felt she was 100% Californian. Like, she gets this platform, she gets on the stage, and instead of saying, what a beautiful country you have, I'm so blessed to be here. I am courageous. I am brave. Like, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Lady, you sound crazy.
What followed wasn't outrage. It was absence. No defenders, no A-list solidarity, just the slow pullback of a once sympathetic crowd. The Hollywood machine, once eager to echo her voice, fell quiet. And in that silence, the perception shifted. Suddenly, the narrative of resilience looked more like repetition. The storytelling stayed the same, but the stakes had changed. Because when legacy leans too hard on public sympathy and the audience checks out, the empire starts to erode from within.
Just went off on these, what did she call them? Queen's husband was dying, and she went on Oprah and suggested one or both of them are raging racists. She couldn't have cared less. She doesn't care about anyone other than herself, and I include Harry in that. She cares about her image. That's why she's there. You're in America now, and we don't give a shit about you. You're not our fucking prince. You'll never be king. We hate your wife. Stay at home in your $29 million mansion, all right?
Nigerians were thinking, well, this is a bit of a waste of public money. This is not like we're courting a state that can help us with resources. This is kind of like a faux royal couple that are there to kind of boost their image.
By the time the tour ended, the symbolism was impossible to miss. Shifting heritage claims, luxury wardrobe changes, and a message repeated so often it began to feel hollow. What began as a reinvention now read like a rebrand. Not a fall, but a drift. Quiet, steady, and harder to reverse. And as the headlines faded, one question remained. Was this about building a legacy or just protecting the illusion of one?